KT McFarland joins us now. KT, there are migrants coming to the southern border in droves. What is our foreign policy regarding Central America, which is supposed to be the root cause of the problem?
Look, I think we're approaching this whole immigration crisis at the southern border in the wrong way. We keep saying, the critics of their Biden administration policy keep saying, well, they're so incompetent, they don't know what they're doing. Their fans keep saying, well, they're so wonderful, they're so humanitarian, they want to let people in this country who have such a terrible time in their own home countries. I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think this is a very deliberate plan by the Democrats who know the American people don't like what they're selling, this far left, loony left progressive agenda. So what are they going to do? They're going to get new voters. Why do I say that? The Kamala Harris solution to solving the border crisis, even if it works, it will take at least a decade. Even their own people say that it would take at least a decade to prop up the Central American countries to the point where people don't want to leave. And then the second point is, you know, they've welcomed all the immigrants across the southern border. You know who they're not welcoming in? Cuban immigrants. The Cubans who are trying to flee communist Cuba. Why are they not welcoming those people? Why are they sending the Coast Guard out and telling those people on boats, go back to Cuba? Because they know that Cuban Americans vote predominantly and historically Republican. I think this is a voter plan by the Democrats to shift the citizenship of this country and therefore shift to a Democrat majority.
I understand that point, and I've made that point myself, and I agree entirely with you. I just think that the political fallout of an utterly chaotic border getting worse from where it is now, I don't think that will be in the Democrats' favor at all. Maybe long term they'll get a few more Democrat voters in, but in the short term, chaos I don't think is popular. Last word to you on this subject.
Yes, and I think it ties into the other thing you were talking about, which was the China crisis. China and other countries have looked at the United States in the last couple of months and they say they can't control their southern border. They had the shambolic evacuation from Afghanistan. They're not standing it to anybody. This is our time to make a move. And I think that's why you're seeing a far more aggressive China in the South China Sea flying warplanes over Taiwan, rattling their sabers.
Do you think they would actually try to invade Taiwan? They wouldn't do that, would they?
Well, here's what they do, Stuart. I mean, why do it if you don't have to do it? You know, a military exercise is something that countries do to demonstrate to others, their adversaries, that here's what's going to happen if you test me. So what have the Chinese done? They've had military maneuvers, military exercises in the last several weeks and months showing how they would invade Taiwan if they had to. We've had American military, and particularly American Navy critics, say the United States is not going to be prepared, A, to help them, or even if we help them, we're not necessarily going to prevail. So if the Chinese are whispering in the ears of some of the Taiwan leaders and saying, if we decide to invade, you're on your own. America's not going to help you. Look at what happened in Afghanistan, where they spent 20 years. They're assuming that Taiwan may just say, okay, fine, let's find some long-term accommodation where we actually become part of China. I think that's what their goal is, but they want to demonstrate to the world that they can do whatever they want militarily. Oh, and by the way, they want to push the United States out of the South China Sea, which is the most important maritime trade route in the world.
Yes, it is. KT McFarland, great insight. Thanks for joining us. Always a pleasure. Thanks very much.
Thank you.